This just keeps getting crazier as the Kevin Durant asking price from the Phoenix Suns has been revealed, and a lot of Spurs fans, and I'm sure Brian Wright included, are not happy with it, plus some comments from an ex-NBA player on the situation. But we also got to talk about De'Aaron Fox's bounce back and just how the Spurs are faring in the tankathon, and a note on one specific Spurs player that is a bit of a hot topic right now. We got a lot to dive into on this episode of Spurs Digest, but guys, before we get into it, I want to remind you that we got our March Madness bracket going. We got over 100 people signed up, so check this out in partnership with Hot Takes. We are pumped to be launching a March Madness bracket for the channel. We've partnered with the Hot Takes app and other Digest media channels for this event. It's completely free to sign up. Just download the Hot Takes app, click the March Madness banner at the top, and under groups, select Digest Media Pool. This is super exciting as there's over $25,000 in prizes to be won. And since there's a much smaller pool than normal bracket challenges, there's a real chance you can win big. So check out the link below or scan the QR code to download the app, and make sure you use the code DIGEST, all caps DIGEST, when you sign up. You'll get exclusive perks when you join if you do that, guys. This is amazing. The main event round starts on March 16th, so get in quickly. Get in now. If you have any trouble, any questions about signing up, email us. The email will be left down below. Thank you to Hot Takes for partnering with us on this amazing competition. Let's dive right into the video, and I actually want to start with something that's not Kevin Durant before we get into it, and we'll start with the Spurs versus Mavericks game just a little bit, just because a win feels nice, doesn't it? But the big story here is De'Aaron Fox. Look, he played out of his mind, and there's a lot of Spurs fans who are saying, like, even maybe myself included at times, saying, oh man, should we shut him down for the season? Look, we know when the Spurs are going to LA in a few days now, he's going to get evaluated and may have surgery. His season may be over. So we may be in the final days of De'Aaron Fox's season here. But for now, even with 4, maybe even 3 fingers, he is balling out. 41 minutes, 12 for 25 shooting, which is quite solid. 48% from the field, 6 for 6 from the foul line, but 32 and 11 with 9 rebounds. Unbelievable stuff. Yeah, some 5 fouls, but De'Aaron Fox has shown us that even while injured, he can contribute to this team in such amazing ways. Watching him play when he's on like this just shows you that glimpse into the future, right? Like, this is the kind of guy, that secondary scorer that we need. And honestly, what I really liked as well is there were some plays where De'Aaron Fox was able to really use Devin Vassell a little bit, like use De'Aaron Fox himself as a distraction, like a little behind the back drop pass to Vassell for a fading corner 3. There were these moments in this game where Fox's gravity, when he's scoring like this, really helped open up lanes for some other players. And yeah, Vassell again didn't have the best shooting night, 6 for 14, 2 for 8 from 3. Still a bit of an issue there for him, but he had a solid game as well. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Like, that's the thing. Our guards are getting better, and I think as Fox and Vassell continue to get reps together, that's just going to be something that keeps going. But another thing I mentioned in the intro is a certain Spur that is a bit of a hot topic. Now, I talked in my last video, or maybe it was 2 videos ago, I think it was my last video, about Jeremy Sochan and how he is due for an extension. Because, I mean, looking at the Spurs, where is it? There's the picture. Looking at the Spurs' upcoming contract situation, look, Sochan needs to be extended, and he can do it after this season. Then once his 3rd season's over, yes, he's still under contract for next year, but you can still extend him for the year after that, the contract starting in 26-27. So you're going to have to make that decision. You got still guys like Branham and Wesley. We'll see. Charles Bassey, yeah, we'll see as well. I think there's an option there for next year. But Sochan's been one of these guys that's been a bit of a hot topic. And I came in saying about 25 million is what I expect with the salary cap going up. I think he'll sneak in just under Devin Vassell, and boy, did he ever show up again. I wanted to say that his 3-point shooting looks great. Again, still on a bit of a minutes restriction. 24 minutes, like, I don't know when he's going to get back to 30. I don't know if that'll be this season. Maybe it will be. Again, like, the kind of injury he has, you don't want to rush coming back from that, but hasn't he looked great? Hasn't his impact been felt every single game? Like, -8, but the whole bench was kind of in the minuses there. I mean, Sandro getting only 5 minutes, but, like, the bench wasn't ideal, except Sochan. Well, you know what? Honestly, that's kind of a dumb thing for me to say, because I will say Sochan and Keldon Johnson both played amazing. Their plus minuses just don't necessarily show it. Yeah, the starters had the crazy plus minus, but Sochan and Keldon Johnson came in and had phenomenal games off the bench. Sochan in particular, I've been extremely impressed with, and I want to know your guys' thoughts on his performances down below, because he has really, really been doing very well. And a final little update. One win kind of shoots you down on this tankathon. Like, in the fight for Cooper Flag, it's capture the flag season. The Spurs ended up getting jumped in the tankathon race here by Portland and Chicago. It's looking like the Spurs will get a top 10 lottery odds, but who knows from there? There's a lot of teams fighting for a few little spots. But let me know your thoughts on that game. I didn't want to go too much into it, but it was a ton of fun. Talking about Fox, talking about Sochan, really good stuff. But let's move on to the big topic. The big ticket, not the big ticket, that's a different player. I want to talk about Kevin Durant, Slim Reaper, a bit better. So first off, I want to mention what Lou Williams had to say recently, and it's a very interesting thing because we're hearing the Kevin Durant stuff just increase and increase and increase. Everyone's wondering where he's going to go. It's pretty much a guarantee that the Phoenix Suns are going to trade him. But, you know, you hear some executives, you hear some insiders talking, might not be one of these big teams. And look, Lou Williams, I'm not going to claim he's an insider, but it's a very interesting thing that he had to say. No more super teams for KD. Go somewhere where they're up and coming. You got some young stars that can do their thing, and you can add to that. With the Lakers, with the Mavs, it's just going to be the same old narratives. And while I do believe that's true, I don't think that necessarily matters to KD. My first thought about this is, like, since when has KD cared about narratives? Well, he does, he tends to respond to people on Twitter, go in comment sections, this kind of stuff, which is fine. Like, I got no problem with it. Some people do. But, he'll say things about that, but then he also did that move to Golden State. Like, I don't know how much he actually cares about the narratives forming at this stage in his career, but straight up, I think Lou's onto something. I think that should be the role Kevin Durant plays at this point, unless he's desperate for another title, which I also wouldn't blame him for. But look, Lou's not an insider. Someone who is a Suns insider is Dwayne Rankin, and he had this to say about Kevin Durant's asking price. Sources informed the Republic the most ideal return on a Durant trade is regaining 3 first-round picks and a young player as part of a multi-team deal tied to getting under the second apron. Like, look, you guys know that every time I've made a Kevin Durant video, I've said the price is going to be too much. It doesn't make any sense for the Spurs to go after him. These mock trades all have guys like Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, and a few first-round picks, or Sochan and Castle. It's like, why? Because Kevin Durant, while he's an amazing player, I mean, there's no doubt there. He's going to be 37 years old, right? By the time the next season rolls around, he's 27 points per game, 6 boards, 4 assists. Yeah, incredible shooting. He's always been insanely efficient, right? 53% from the field, 41 from 3, and especially if he can be that second tier scorer, or maybe even like the number 1 option, but can take some nights off on a younger team like the Spurs. I see a lot of Spurs fans saying exactly this, and I agree with it. Right player, wrong price. Like, if Kevin Durant was a free agent and he'd sign here on a decent contract, I'd be all for that. But the problem is, again, like, you got to look at the contracts moving forward, number one. Well, first of all, you'd only be getting Kevin Durant for 1 year guarantee, and then he's going to be nearly 38, and you're really going to re-sign him for more than like 1 or 2 years after that? Doesn't make any sense. He's making like $57 bajillion next year. I actually do think it's like 56 or 57 million. But that just comes in immediately the highest paid player on the team by nearly double, basically. Well, at least times and a half Fox's contract. So it's like double Vassell. Is that really what you want to do? Is that sending the right message? Look, messaging is hit or miss, I think, sometimes with these kind of things. But still, I don't see a world where a Kevin Durant trade makes sense. However, the Spurs do have the draft capital, but I think that'd be much more well-served going after someone else. Do I know that other player? Not necessarily, and I don't think it's going to be nearly as easy to land a free agent as it will be to trade for another player, especially considering the Spurs' assets. Look, Brian Wright and R.C. Buford, their front office, I'm sure they're going to handle this right. The Spurs have the assets, and we do have some young guys. Like, again, just looking at this team, some of these guys that we maybe don't treat as valuable might have some value to other teams, but at the end of the day, the real value comes in guys like Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and especially Stephon Castle and Jeremy Sochan, and I don't think we're going to move either of them. I would never want to move either of them, especially Castle, but I also really love Jeremy Sochan as a player. So with this asking price, I need you guys to let me know, what do you think about this? Because to me, again, every time this comes up, I say this is stupid. Like, don't do this. Why would we do this? I like Kevin Durant as a player, as a fit on the Spurs. I hate the idea of mortgaging any kind of future for only 1 guaranteed year of Kevin Durant when the Spurs are not even necessarily ready for their championship contention window. It's a bit crazy to me, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. That's going to do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. Let me know everything you have to say about this whole video, because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on around the Spurs now. But if you enjoyed, look, there's one way you can support the channel right now. Seriously, it's joining that March Madness bracket. I know that you real ones, there's a lot of you every single video that make it this far into the video. And like, we'd seriously really appreciate it if you join the March Madness bracket. Like I said, email password, that's literally it. It's 100% free email password. We got over 100 people in there. Everyone from all the Digest channels, myself, Brian, Keenan, we're all in there. Play with us. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm your host, Josh Gosse. We'll catch you in the next one.